The European Union is at the center of a fierce internal battle, not over territory, but over 210 billion euros in frozen Russian state assets. The EU has now agreed to freeze these funds indefinitely, bypassing the need for unanimous votes and neutralizing Hungary's veto power. The next step: seizing the money to fund Ukraine's defense and reconstruction, a move that's ignited controversy across the bloc. Brussels argues it's only fair for Russia to pay for the destruction it caused, but critics warn this could undermine the EU's legal foundations. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has called the plan a declaration of war, claiming it abandons the rule of law and risks chaos. With a major EU summit looming, the debate has become a high-stakes clash of ideologies. Justice for Ukraine versus the sanctity of international norms. The decision to freeze the assets has already shifted the balance of power within the EU. Now, as leaders consider using the money, the Union faces a defining test of its unity and principles. The EU froze 210 billion euros in Russian assets to cripple Moscow's war machine after the invasion of Ukraine. The goal blocked the Kremlin from using its reserves to fund the conflict and send a clear message of Western unity. Now, with the war dragging on and costs mounting, EU leaders want to use these frozen assets as collateral for a massive loan to Ukraine, potentially 165 billion euros for military and civilian needs. Supporters, including Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, say it's only right that Russia's money repairs the damage it caused. The war's economic fallout, soaring energy prices, inflation, and slow growth makes this plan a strategic move for Europe's own stability. Most of the assets are held in Belgium's Euroclear, making it the focal point of the debate. The indefinite freeze was just the first step. Now, the legal challenge is how to seize profits or assets and redirect them to Ukraine. For many in Brussels, it's a necessary, if unprecedented, response to an illegal war. But the legal and financial risks are enormous. Viktor Orbán has fiercely condemned the EU's plan, calling it a reckless violation of international law. He warns that confiscating Russian assets crosses a red line, risking chaos in global finance and provoking unpredictable retaliation from Moscow. Orbán argues that if sovereign assets aren't safe in Europe, countries like China or Gulf states could pull their investments, triggering a crisis. He accuses Brussels of ignoring reality and pushing Europe toward disaster for the sake of appeasing markets. Orbán's defiance resonates with his base, framing him as a defender of national sovereignty against EU overreach. This is just the latest in a long series of clashes between Orbán and Brussels over democracy, migration, and Russia. By escalating the rhetoric, Orbán forces EU leaders to confront deep ideological divides. The financial debate has become a test of the Union's unity and its commitment to the rule of law. Orbán isn't alone. Other EU leaders are wary of seizing Russian assets. Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico shares Orbán's concerns, warning that using the funds for Ukraine's military could escalate the conflict and undermine peace efforts. Fico urges diplomacy over confrontation, reflecting growing fatigue with the war's economic toll in Central Europe. Italy's Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini calls the plan risky, fearing Russian retaliation against the hundreds of Italian companies still operating in Russia. The threat of tit-for-tat asset seizures could inflict huge losses on European businesses. These dissenting voices reveal a fault line within the EU, between those demanding Russia pay and those fearing the fallout. The debate isn't just legal, it's about economic risk, escalation, and the future of Europe's financial credibility. The upcoming summit will test whether the EU can bridge these divides. Moscow has responded with outrage, calling the EU's plan outright theft and a violation of international law. Russia is fighting back on two fronts, launching lawsuits against Euroclear in Moscow and threatening to seize Western assets in Russia. The Kremlin warns that any confiscation of its assets will be met with tit-for-tat retaliation, targeting European companies still operating in Russia. The value of these assets is substantial, and their loss would hit European economies hard. Russia's legal and economic counteroffensive is designed to make EU states reconsider the risks. The EU's bold plan could trigger a cycle of lawsuits and economic pain, deepening divisions within the bloc. The principle of sovereign asset security is at stake. with global financial stability hanging in the balance. The coming weeks will reveal whether the EU moves forward, and what price it might pay.